folks, this is my review of my Adventures by Disney short escape to Disneyland, Southern California in May of 2019, and I wanted to share some of my experience with you all. First, Adventures by Disney is an incredible experience, and it might possibly be my new addiction. This was actually my second personal trip with Adventures by Disney. My first one was a short escape trip to New York City, and I will be putting together a separate video on that experience. The service on these trips is top-notch, and you will truly feel like a VIP. The experiences are unique and special, and I actually got teary-eyed at least 3 times on this trip because I was so moved by the special moments. Spoiler alert, if you are interested in taking this trip but want to be surprised by the experiences, you may not want to watch this video. Arrival day. A driver picked me up from the airport and took me to Disney's Grand Californian Resort and Spa. It's a beautiful hotel that reminds me a bit of Wilderness Lodge in Walt Disney World with some of the rustic theming. The great thing about this hotel is that it gives you access right from the hotel to California Adventure Park. It is also a short walk to Disneyland Park via downtown Disney. I found it amazing that I could access both parks so easily without waiting for any kind of transportation. Once I arrived, an adventure guide met me at the hotel and gave me my welcome packet and escorted me to my room. All Adventures by Disney guests were given a 4-day park hopper, so there was time to check out the parks if you arrived earlier that day. That evening, we met our 2 adventure guides and the rest of our group. After introductions, we were escorted into Disneyland Park, where we had dinner at the Blue Bayou. After dinner, we were given a fast pass for Haunted Mansion and a bit of free time before we met at a reserved location to watch the Mickey's Mix Magic Fireworks show. The next day, we had breakfast at Storytellers Cafe at our hotel, and we met Mickey, Minnie, and Chip and Dale. Afterwards, we boarded a bus to Burbank to visit the Walt Disney Studios. Our adventure guides escorted us around the studios and were a wealth of information, let me tell you. We had lunch at the commissary, which was delicious, and it's actually where Walt Disney himself used to eat. And then we visited Legends Plaza and the Walt Disney Archives. I won't go into too much detail here because if you want to visit, I want to save some of the magic for you, but you can see from the pictures that it was an incredible experience. After the studios, we went to Walt Disney Imagineering, where we were escorted by a Disney Imagineer. We could not take pictures here, but the campus was quite impressive. For example, one of the office hallways mimics the monorail. We visited a sound studio where they showed us how they sync music and sound to the rides. And then we visited what I would describe as a virtual reality type of room where we wore glasses and appear to be standing in the middle of Magic Kingdom. They showed us a few different scenes and a few different perspectives, and then we took a virtual ride through Radiator Spring Racers. It was quite an experience. After we left the Imagineering offices, we went to Griffith Park Carousel, where Walt frequently visited with his children. This is the carousel that actually inspired Disneyland. This was a very emotional moment for many guests. We kind of just took it in and could feel his presence, and it was just a really neat experience. We had the pleasure to ride it privately, and we listened to the owner tell us about the carousel's history. Then we headed to Tam OShanter, where Walt Disney frequently ate. He sat at table 31 with his back to the wall so he could greet people. This table is special because you can see sketches from his napkin drawings with his Imagineers etched into the table. The employees wear tartan uniforms, and it is thought that this was the inspiration for the tartan uniforms that cast members wear in the Disney theme parks today. This restaurant also looks very much like the Seven Dwarfs Cottage. Perhaps it was inspiration for the film. I'm not sure, but maybe it was. The next day, we met bright and early as 6 a.m. to head into Disneyland Park. We were able to experience Main Street USA before the park opened to the public, and it was neat to be able to take pictures and walk along the street without other guests. Then we had breakfast at the Plaza Inn, and the character interactions were fantastic. I met some characters I rarely see, such as Fairy Godmother, Geppetto, Rafiki, Captain Hook, and more. It was a very fun experience. After breakfast, we were escorted by our adventure guides and a park cast member to the Matterhorn, Peter Pan's Flight, and the Carousel, where we had front-of-the-line service. Then we were given a behind-the-scenes look at the Indiana Jones Adventure attraction, and afterwards we were escorted to the front of the line to experience the ride. Next, we took a ride on the Main Street trolley, and we ended our Disneyland Park day with a private tour of Walt Disney's apartment. It was incredible to stand in his apartment that overlooks Main Street. You almost felt his presence, and I definitely was crying like a baby when I was in his apartment. Next, we traveled to California Adventure, where we had some time to get lunch on our own. After lunch, we had a behind-the-scenes look at Radiator Springs Racers. And little tidbit, did you know that each car costs just under $900,000? Amazing. Again, we bypassed the line and experienced the ride. Then we went to Soarin' with another behind-the-scenes experience. We rode Soarin', and then we were escorted underneath the screen and watched it from the other side. It was incredible to see. The guests in the front row actually are raised 65 feet in the air. Then we had time on our own to explore the parks at our leisure. Our adventure guide surprised us with 2 fast passes. That evening, we met back as a group at Flo's V8 Cafe for our farewell dinner. Our adventure guide surprised each of us with Mouseketeer ears with our names embroidered on them. This was another moment when my eyes welled up with tears. It was touching to be treated in such a special way. I attended the trip by myself, but I never felt alone because people were welcoming and friendly, and the adventure guides took excellent care of us. Our last surprise was that we were given another fast pass to use on our departure day. We also had a private viewing area that evening for World of Color, but due to technical difficulties, the show was unfortunately canceled. This, without a doubt, was an experience to remember, and I look forward to another Adventures by Disney trip. If you are interested in this itinerary or any of the Adventures by Disney trips, please feel free to contact me.